We turn now to the race to 08 and former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee. Could he be on the verge of becoming a real contender? The Huckabee camp is pointing to positive signs, including a local Iowa poll that has him in second place right now and a recent surge in contributions. ABC senior political correspondent Jake Tapper has more.
Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee can rock. He can tell a one-liner.
We've had a Congress that spent money like John Edwards at a beauty shop.
The Baptist minister can convince Christian conservatives he does not just agree with their views on social issues such as abortion, he is one of them.
I think it's important that the language of Zion is a mother tongue and not a recently acquired second language.
Former White House aide Dan Bartlett at the website Leading Authorities has high praise for Huckabee.
Best candidate, Mike Huckabee. He is the most articulate, visionary candidate of anybody in the field.
But despite their misgivings about the Republican frontrunners, Christian conservative leaders have not rallied behind Huckabee because of concerns he cannot win. Huckabee accuses these Christian leaders of, quote, being more intoxicated with power than with principle, and having forgotten Jesus' admonition, what is a man profited if he may gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Others say Huckabee is seriously flawed. As one conservative magazine wrote, quote, a guy with a thin skin, a nasty vindictive streak, and a long history of imbroglios about questionable ethics.
I expect this week, we'll have a few bumps and bruises with all these people now saying, oh, this guy's alive, let's go get him. That's part of it. And boy, are they doing it, too.
And the better Huckabee does, the worse it will get. For Good Morning America, Jake Tapper, ABC News, Washington.
And that is where I began with Governor Huckabee earlier this morning. Good morning, Governor Huckabee. Boy, the better you do, the bigger the target you become. Some of your old adversaries in Arkansas are stepping out now. Betsy Hagan of the Eagle Forum saying about you, he was pro-life and pro-gun, but otherwise a liberal, just like Bill Clinton. He will charm you, but don't be surprised if he takes a completely different turn in office. Phyllis Schlafly, he destroyed the conservative movement in Arkansas and left the Republican Party a shambles. What do you say to them?
There are probably over 100 Republican elected officials and appointed people who are ready to counter that argument. So sure, you can always find somebody that I made mad. You know, George, when you're governor 10 and a half years, as I used to say, you got to wake up every day and make 10 new friends because you're going to lose 7 by something you said or did.
How about more generally? It seems like the conservative Christian movement this year is having a hard time finding a candidate. And I was struck by the fact that right now, at least, Mayor Giuliani is the most popular candidate among white evangelicals, and he's got a plurality of the Christian conservative vote. How do you explain that, given his pro-choice, pro-gay rights positions? He's had 3 marriages. How do you explain that, and what do you do about it?
Well, I don't know that I can explain it, except that there's a lot of anxiety about the prospect of Hillary becoming president. But what they sometimes forget is that nobody knows her better than me, and nobody has successfully run against the Clinton political machine in Arkansas as I did, not once, twice, 3 times, but 4 times and won.
What's the one-line case against Hillary?
Well, I think that people know that if Hillary is president, there's going to be a different focus on more taxes, more government, more intrusion into the lives of people in terms of government having more control than the private sector, and that brings some anxiety. There's also the concern that she's not going to be that strong on the Islamo-fascist movement that we face as an enemy, and I think there's just that sense of anxiety.
You look among white evangelical Protestants, last year 80% said they would vote for President Bush. This time only 60% say they're open to a Republican. Same thing for white Catholics, white mainline Protestants. What is going on inside the Christian movement? You're a former minister.
Well, some of it, George, is that there's a maturing and a seasoning within the evangelical world. Many of us, including me, believe that we've also got to address the issues that affect the poor. We can't just be, we're for sanctity of life and we're for traditional marriage. We also have to be conservationist and be good stewards of the earth. We have to deal with issues like poverty and AIDS. And if we don't deal with those issues, we're really not even being true to our own Christian calling. I think that's part of what's kind of happening in the movement.
How do you take it to the next step? How do you close the deal with Mitt Romney and Rudy Giuliani?
Well, obviously I'm doing something right. And I think it shows that people are beginning to pay attention to the message. And in the last 6 days, we've raised more money online than we raised in the first 3 months of the entire campaign. So it's beginning to catch just at the right time, as I had hoped and prayed it would.
I know you had a big concert on Saturday night. Who's the one rock star you would just love to jam with before the end of this campaign?
You know, at some point, I want to be on stage with Keith Richards and just, you know, turn it loose. I think it would be pretty incredible to be on stage with somebody who has lasted, you know, longer than the entire rock era. I think that'd be pretty slick.
Well, I don't know if it'll help your campaign, but it sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. Governor, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure, George.